The snow had started falling again, soft, white flakes swirling through the gray December sky, painting the streets of the city in a hush of winter calm. Inside the little cafe on the corner of Elm and 7th, warmth hummed through the windows, clashing with the cold glass panes. It was a place where time seemed to slow, a refuge of crackling wood, steaming monks, and cozy silence. James Whittaker sat near the window, the glow of amber bulbs above casting a warm halo round him. A successful architect in his mid-30s, James had the look of a man who had everything: tailored wool coat, sleek leather gloves, the latest phone resting on the table beside his espresso. Yet behind the polished exterior, there was a quiet loneliness. He rarely acknowledged that Saturday morning was supposed to be his break, a quiet hour to gather his thoughts, sketch ideas, sip his coffee, and watch the city pass by through the frosted glass. That's when he noticed her. She was small, perhaps 6 or 7 years old, bundled in an oversized blue coat that brushed the tops of her snow-crusted boots. A pink woolen hat sat crooked on her head, and she clutched a worn, one-eyed teddy bear to her chest like it held her world together. She hesitated at the door. The bell jingled softly as she stepped in, sending a puff of cold air swirling into the cafe. Heads turned briefly, but no one truly noticed. Just a child, alone. James's eyes followed her more out of instinct than curiosity. But when she moved closer, her gaze steady and unwavering, something shifted in the atmosphere. She stopped right in front of his table. "Can I sit here?" she asked softly. "I'm just a sick little girl." James blinked, caught completely off guard. He glanced around, expecting a parent or sibling nearby, but there was no one. Just her, small and fragile, with a red nose and tired eyes that seemed far older than her years. He gestured to the empty seat across from him. "Of course," he said. "Are you okay?" She climbed up carefully, her legs dangling. "I'm not supposed to be out long," she said. "But Mommy's sleeping again, and there wasn't any food." James felt his chest tighten. This wasn't just a kid playing hooky. This was something deeper. "What's your name?" Leela Grace." "And this is Mr. Buttons," she said, placing the teddy bear on the table. "Where do you live, Leela?" She pointed vaguely out the window. "Over there. In the tall building with the blue door. 3rd floor, number 309. James recognized it, a low-income housing block not far from the cafe. Not a place a child should be wandering from alone. "Are you really sick?" he asked gently. She nodded. "Something with my blood. I go to the big hospital. They take some out, and then they give some back. It hurts, but I'm used to it." James's throat tightened. "Where's your dad?" She looked down. "He left before I was born." The air fell quiet. James looked around the cafe. Everyone was immersed in their own world. No one saw her. No one knew what was unfolding at this little table. "Leela, are you hungry?" She nodded. James raised a hand to the waitress. "Hot chocolate and pancakes." Leela's face lit up. "Yes, please. I haven't had those since my birthday." As they waited, Leela opened up slowly. She talked about her mom sleeping all day, reading by flashlight at night, and how she liked watching the stars because they didn't need batteries. "Do you go to school?" James asked. "Not much. Medicine makes me tired. Some kids are mean because I wear my hat inside." James shook his head. "That's not fair." "It's okay," she said. "Mr. Buttons listens, and sometimes the stars talk back." The food arrived, and she ate with quiet joy. James watched, heart tugging at every small expression on her face. "Do you come here a lot?" she asked. "Sometimes," he replied. "Helps me think." "What do you think about?" He paused. "How to make things better." She nodded thoughtfully. "That's a good thing to think about." When she finished, she folded her hands and smiled. "Thank you. You're the nicest stranger I've ever met. And you're the bravest little girl I've ever met," he replied. Before she left, she looked at him and said, "Can I tell you a secret?" He leaned in. "Of course. Sometimes I come here just to sit, even if no one talks to me. It feels safe." James nodded, throat tight. "You can sit here anytime, Leela." 3 days later, James was back. Same table. 2 hot chocolates. But she didn't come. After 2 hours, he walked to her building. Apartment 309. He knocked. No answer. A neighbor peeked out. She's usually around. Her mom. Well, not doing great. James left. Troubled. The next day, she returned. "I didn't eat yesterday," she said. He said nothing, just ordered her pancakes. That became their routine. Every other day, Leela came. James waited. They talked about stars, stories, bears, and bravery. James began bringing little gifts: a scarf, coloring, books, never too much. She never asked. Then one day, she didn't come. This time, when James went to apartment 309, the door opened. A woman frail, hollow-eyed stood there. "Sarah," she said. When James asked her name, "She's sick, sleeping." He stepped in and saw Leela on the couch, pale but smiling faintly. "Hi, Rocket Girl," he said. "Hi," she whispered. From then on, James became part of their world. He helped with meals, medical visits, and emotional support. Sarah was struggling, not cruel, just broken. She let James help. Leela grew more vibrant with care. James even met her doctors. One day, she gave him a note. "If I go to the stars, give Mr. Buttons to James. He makes him feel safe." He cried reading it. That summer, Sarah overdosed. Not intentional but serious. James sat with Leela in the hospital as social workers talked about foster care. "I'm family," James said. "You are?" the caseworker asked. "I am now." Adoption took time. James wasn't a typical choice single. Busy, but he had everything that mattered: proof, persistence, and a bond no one could deny. 6 months later, it was official. Leela Grace Whitaker. She got better. Proper food, rest, love. Her room was filled with fairy lights and star maps. Mr. Button stood proudly on her shelf. At night, they read stories together. Sometimes, she'd whisper, "Thank you for seeing me that day." And James always replied, "Thank you for asking."